Stephen Daniel, the co-founder with my beautiful wife Beth, living here in Maui, of QuantumTechniques.com. It's the most comprehensive diagnostic form of energy medicine in the world. It's really driven by a spiritual consciousness, and that's where we get our answers. And I just want to share a story. Before I moved here in Hawaii, I had two large barns. They were both over 1,500 square feet. One was all metalwork because I had been a metal worker since I was 14. I had 9 different welders, could do stainless steel, aluminum, aircraft, anything. Okay. Then I had another shop that was for cabinet making. I had huge table saws, band saws, everything you can imagine. Well, when I moved to Hawaii, I had to leave that behind. And that was a hard thing. I really had identified that. I'd been a guy who could build and do anything, really starting at about age 15 when I started rebuilding cars. And so by the time I left Hawaii, which I was about 50-ish, 51. Left Arizona. Moving to Hawaii, I had all these tools. I mean, tens of thousands of dollars. And I realized I couldn't take them with me. I wasn't moving to a location where I had these giant shops. And secondly, the humid air here, I never knew how bad it would be, but I knew it wouldn't be good. So I liquidated everything. The thing I couldn't part with is a Hitachi compound miter saw. It was the best one they ever made. Beautiful saw, it's about this big. It's out on my deck right now, but it's too big to hold up for this purpose. And so I brought it with me and I lubricated it, I put it in my garage. And within 6 months, a lot of my tools, even in my locked garage, I threw away that I'd had since I was 15 because of the rust here, the corrosion. And I was watching this saw and I'd go out and spiff it up and oil it up again. And I was doing that a couple times a year. About a year ago, I recognized that I hadn't used that saw. I was holding on to something whose time had come to let it go. And there was really some sadness with that because I'd built so many things. It's the best saw for trim work, for building a deck, for doing picture frames. Great saw. And so I had a friend who's also on a conscious journey with me. He's a builder, and he comes to my Vernon Howard night at my home with my wife and I. And so I walked him out to my garage and I said, you know, I need you to help me with something. And I pulled out this saw and I said, I need somebody to adopt this saw because it's going to rust out before I'll ever use it. And his eyes lit up and he said, I used to have one of those. That was the best saw I've ever owned. And I said, well, here, I'd rather pass it on. It's time for me to let go of it. That was about 1.5 years ago. I looked out. We had to have our deck replaced. It's a big deck, needs a lot of work. Something that I could have done years ago if I had the time, not at the level that it's being done now by my friend Tool Time Tim, the builder. And I looked out there, and he's using that saw to create a masterpiece of a deck, a beautiful deck. It's time to realize it takes more energy to carry something with you if its time has come to release it. And if you release it, not only does it bless someone else, but if it's supposed to come back to you, it will come back to you in some form. Think about how many things in your life you're carrying forward. And they were very powerful. They were part of your identity. They were very important in the past. But it's time to let them go, to free up creativity for other things. So something to think about on a consciousness level from Quantum Techniques. Blessings.